All right. Well, good evening, everybody. It's great to just kind of hang out with you in our computer room. It looks clean from the angle that you're looking at, but trust me, it's a total pigsty in here. This is a total disaster zone. One day we're going to get this place organized and use it much more productively, but we'll see how that goes. So why don't you just introduce yourself?
All right. So my name's Cameron. I am Kevin's son here. It feels weird saying Kevin's son. This is my father here.
I am your father.
Yeah, he's my father. I am Cameron. It's Cameron.
Volume off. There you
Turn
go.
on the live stream. Nice.
Exactly.
I'm very much into, just a little bit on me, I'm very much into graphic design and movies. I'm in grade 11.
Awesome. So we've been actually talking for a little while, so it's kind of cool how, father, son, have kind of the same hobbies and interests. We're both really into movies, Marvel movies, geek movies, Star Wars movies, different things like that. We're really into this stuff. So we had been talking about this for quite a while, potentially starting a YouTube channel to just kind of talk movies and get it from
both perspectives.
Yeah, like from the 17-year-old perspective and from the older than 17.
Yeah, the older than 17.
Significantly older than 17.
Yeah.
And so we just thought this would be a fun way to do it. And so we're going to experiment through Facebook Live. And now our dog, as you can see, our dog just kind of kicked in. She hates being left out of the conversation. Paisley.
Hi, Paisley.
Paisley, go see Sammy. Go see Sammy. The dog does know how to open doors. There we go.
That's funny.
So we wanted to start this off. Again, we're experimenting with this, and we're potentially going to start up a YouTube channel, just talking movies, father and son, talking rumors and the stuff that we love and all of that kind of stuff. So we just came back from seeing, what movie did we just see?
Solo, a Star Wars story.
Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, this is going to have spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler warning.
Spoiler. We are going to discuss the whole thing, and we're following online. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can join into the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Spoilers. You don't want to know any Solo Star Wars story spoilers, then you need to get out of this and just turn this off right now.
Yeah, even right before clicking on it, there'll be a spoilers warning right in the title there. So
exactly.
If you've come here by this point, you should have seen it already.
Yeah.
And you should already know.
So before we talk about the movie, Cameron, why don't you share for a little bit what were your feelings about this movie before going to see it?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Last Jedi, which was the last Star Wars movie that came out, I wasn't a big fan of that one. Neither were you, right?
No.
The Last Jedi? No, wasn't.
No, I'll share my thoughts in a moment.
Yeah. So I wasn't that much of a fan of that one. So Star Wars movies for me, especially after Avengers Infinity War came out, which was like my peak movie of like my life right there.
Your
you
life?
know? Yeah. It was so good. All right. So like after that, I knew that Han Solo was coming out in a month, but I really had no expectations for that movie. And I was just recently on a trip to Italy, so I've been gone for the past 10 days. Still can't hear out of this year from the flight back, but that was kind of...
You still got the pressure in your ear, right?
Yeah. So I, to be honest, I forgot about it until I got back. I texted my dad the day before he came back. I was like, oh yeah, I remember, can we go see it? So we went to go see it. I had no expectations at all for this movie. Yeah, no expectations.
Okay.
That's where I kind of...
So that's where you came in from beforehand.
No,
okay, so where was I before tonight? I'm going to admit full out here before, our friends and family and all the strangers that are watching. I was on the boycott Disney Star Wars bandwagon.
Yeah.
I've been listening to people online, and I think Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy at the helm. I don't like to speak bad about anyone, but she doesn't get it. She's not a Star Wars fan. She's an executive producer. She's not a storyteller.
Yeah.
She's never written a script. She's never directed a movie. She's a money person.
Yeah.
She's a money person. And so she doesn't grasp the basic concept of storytelling.
Yeah.
So I was on the bandwagon of just, I'm done. Like, I'm just officially done with Star Wars. And as a Star Wars guy, this hurts. I mean, just look at the room. This room is decorated all in Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
So I was on the bandwagon no, I'm done, completely done with Star Wars. I'm going to put all my Star Wars stuff on eBay and just transfer over to Marvel. Yeah, so he's already started buying the Marvel guys. So I was like this. Yeah. I was like,
You got him.
Kylo Ren, garbage. Captain America, cool. That's where I was at, okay? And so I was seriously done. So The Force Awakens, I loved The Force Awakens. I thought The Force Awakens was a great movie. I loved Rey, I loved Finn, I loved Poe, I loved the new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely despised with what they did to Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, cried for days.
Yeah.
It wasn't a heroic death. It was just because Harrison Ford wanted the character killed. He didn't want to do it anymore. It did not drive the story. It didn't help in any kind of way. Rogue One, hated it.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated it. I thought Rogue One was boring.
Yeah.
It didn't add anything. And I've tried to give it other chances. We've watched it again, and we've turned it off halfway through.
Yeah, I can't even sit through the entire thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there was not enough time developing the characters to actually care what was going on with the story. And if anything, it just lessened the value that was A New Hope, right? Like, the big mission to destroy the Death Star kind of was like, oh no, well, we put a plan in place to be able to already destroy it. So when Luke was supposed to utilize the Force to be able to take down the Death Star, saying that, oh yeah, it was very possible now because we added something to the Death Star.
So it just took away from the mythology.
Yeah.
And then The Last Jedi came out, and The Last Jedi was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It had some stuff that was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was a terrible continuation of the Skywalker saga again. And I want to love this stuff. I want to love Star Wars. I want to love these movies.
Yeah.
We bought the Blu-ray.
Yep.
We sat down as a family, said we're going to have some popcorn and we're going to watch this movie again. We got 20, 30 minutes into it, and the entire family just turned it off.
Yeah.
It's just unwatchable. There's no story. There's nothing driving it. So the only reason I decided to go see Solo is because, again, Cameron was in Italy for the past 10 days, and he sent me a text saying, when I get back, can we go see Solo?
Yeah.
So that softened my heart that you wanted to go see Solo together. So we went. So this is where we were.
Yeah.
This is where our hearts were and our mind was before we walked into this movie.
Keep in mind, before, even just months ago down the line, there was a bunch of issues with them having to fire the directors of the Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
There have been so many issues with the release on this movie that I didn't even think it was going to happen in the end.
No, absolutely.
They had to reshoot around like 80% of the film under new direction. So I was like, even if this movie does like make it into theaters, I had no expectations.
Right.
Because they had to reshoot everything, and that's just never good to hear about a movie.
Yeah, and you're hearing all these stuff online too, all these problems, all these rumors, and then people going, oh, Lando Calrissian is a pansexual. And I was like, okay, I got to admit, I had to Google it. I was like, what does that even mean? It's like, well, Lando Calrissian likes to have sex with just anything and everybody. And it's like, really? Why? Why? Like he was cool. He was just this suave guy who liked the ladies. Like leave it alone. Like, I mean, if it helps the story, great. But this doesn't. Don't mess around with existing characters. Create a new interesting character.
That's what I'm going to say. If you want to introduce, then this is what you were saying. If you want to introduce more diversity into these films, there's no issue with that. But when you're going back to pre-existing characters and kind of changing them in the past, like Lando Calrissian was like, he was just a suave lady.
He's cool. Right?
Yeah, he's just whatever.
He liked Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Hey, you truly belong with us here among the clouds.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Exactly. If you want to add like a pansexual character to like any film genre, I have no issues with it, especially if it is introduced in a way that's actually going to like help the story,
drive the story.
But if it's just taking a character who's already been pre-established in the past and changing him before we've, like, even because this is a prequel to before the last time we've seen him, right? So this is going back to before where he was.
Yeah.
And just changing it.
Yeah. So all this says, so we're reading all these rumors, we're reading all these production problems. Lucasfilm is attacking people. They're posting on their social media saying, well, the only reason you don't like Star Wars is because you hate women and you hate diversity. And it's like, no, I love people. Thank you, Daniel. I know you're joining us. Thank you. I bought this T-shirt from your conference yesterday. You know, but I don't hate women. I don't hate, like, I'm fine with people that are different, and I love people. So it was just crazy talk that was going on, saying, well, angry white men hate Star Wars now. It's like, it was just a mess. The whole thing has just become this political mess. So I was done. But we went.
We did.
So now that's where we were at. So now we're going to discuss this movie. So again, if you don't want any spoilers, it's time to leave. Turn this off. We so appreciate all of you that are joining us. Hey, Janice. Hey, Daniel. You know, David, Rob, Nicole. I told you people would actually watch this. You know, Nick, good to have you here. Yeah, a lot of great people on here. So awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. So now we're going to get into some spoilers. So, Cameron, what did you think of the movie?
All right. So, just
in one sentence. Just give me a summary sentence, and then we'll break it down.
In a summary sentence, I would say it was the best new Star Wars film that I've seen in the past 2 years. Since Force Awakens.
Since The Force Awakens,
it's been my favorite Star Wars film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you know what? And for me, as a guy who wanted to hate it, I did.
Yeah.
I intentionally went in there. I wanted to hate it because I hate what they've been doing to Star Wars. I hate they killed Han Solo. I hate that they, killed Luke Skywalker. I wanted to hate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved this movie. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it from the beginning to the end. There was only one part of it that I didn't like, and we'll talk about that. That's my summary statement. I absolutely loved this movie. So why don't we break it down a little bit? And so you talk about, Cameron, a little bit from your perspective. What was it about it that you loved?
Yeah, for sure. So even just from the start of the film, I'd read a lot of just these non-spoilery reviews before going into this movie, because at the end of the day, even if I accidentally did have it spoiled for me, it wasn't that big of a concern for me, considering it didn't even cross my mind that this movie was coming out, really, until it did. So I had read all these reviews saying, like, oh, it takes you 30 minutes to get into the character of Han Solo. It never really truly commits to the role, the guy who they have playing Han as, like, the younger version of Han Solo. I didn't see an issue with it, really. Like, I went in, and it picked up right at the start of the movie. He's on some criminal activity, trying to steal hyperfuel, which was a big point in the film. And I didn't see an issue with this guy's interpretation of Han Solo. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say nearly he was as good as Harrison Ford, but I don't really understand the criticisms that everyone had with him. I feel like he's a bit more lighthearted. I feel he's more different than Harrison Ford's interpretation. But also there is a bit of a timeline jump, how I could understand from all the crappy stuff that he had to go through from the start of the film until like 15 minutes later, when there had already been a 3-year gap, where you can already tell he becomes more of a bit more negative person, because he goes through some crappy stuff right at the start.
The galaxy's a hard place.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it toughens him up, right? It kind of makes him into that pirate scoundrel type of character.
Yeah. So the fact that we didn't see it right off the bat wasn't an issue for me, because it was fulfilled by, here's the actual backstory now from Han Solo, which we never really got complete confirmation. And if we did get confirmation of whatever it was through novelization, anything like that, when Disney bought out Lucasfilms, that was all scrapped.
They scrapped all that stuff anyways. So they could have done whatever they wanted, because none of that stuff mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So right off the bat, I was into it. I was digging how this guy, I forget what his name is, but
what's the guy named
Eldrin on Court, something.
Why can't actors just have simple names?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, they're so complicated now.
Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind his Han Solo. All the characters in the film, I didn't really have an issue with anyone. I feel like everyone got valuable amount of screen time. Like there was the character Kira. There was Lando, who I thought was really well done. What's his name? I know his actor name. I don't remember who he was playing in this film.
Woody Harrelson?
Woody Harrelson's character.
Beckett?
Yeah, Beckett. Another great character. The only kind of weak point that I didn't feel was like really driven through, but the story was still like made it circle by the end of it either way. The villain, which was the sub leader of the Crimson Dawn group, I feel like you didn't get enough time on him on screen. Like really, it wasn't a film that was very villain driven. It was just kind of like, if you don't complete this task, like you're just gonna die. So it's more like it didn't have to focus on the villain, exactly, because it's just it wasn't a film that had to dwell on the villain, which was kind of the last film that I had seen in theaters was I can't even talk now. I'm so tired. Avengers: Infinity War, and I'm not going to spoil that film or anything, but obviously that was a very villain-based film. Mm-hmm. So to go from a film where it's very villain-based like that into a movie like this, I kind of expected a bit more from a villain. There wasn't really a need for it, though. I felt like just going through the travel and knowing if you die or if you screw up on this mission, like we're gonna kill you. I felt like that was enough to just,
was enough to drive it.
Story enough to drive it.
Okay, well, that's very cool. Some good thoughts there. And I agree with a lot with what you have to say. Like again, the guy who played young Han Solo. He wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to compare any actor who jumps into a role. I mean, we see it all the time with James Bond movies.
Yeah.
Right? When we change James Bond, you'll get a guy who'll play James Bond 4 or 5 times and they switch it over.
Yeah.
And so you have like a current generation who goes, oh no, Daniel Craig, like no one can play James Bond. But when I was your age as a kid, it was Roger Moore. Like you couldn't change Roger Moore. It had to be Roger Moore. Exactly. So it's hard when we do that because we all have the actor that we love. So I think he pulled it off.
Yeah.
Again, like he was younger. He came across, like especially in the beginning part of the movie, like when he's almost like this Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of this street orphan. He's got picked up by some gang, and they raise him to kind of steal, and he's abused. And I thought that was portrayed well. Like it just kind of showed that wounded person, that someone who dreamt for something more, which is part of the mythology of Star Wars. That's the whole point of kind of looking beyond yourself and looking at kind of this greater cause and this bigger cause. I thought he pulled it off.
Yeah.
How he met Chewbacca was my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Like, I absolutely love that scene when how he met Chewbacca. So, he gets thrown into this prison, this big mud pit. Chewbacca is soaking wet and been in this mud pit.
Yeah.
They start duking it out. And then suddenly they finally explain that Han Solo speaks a little bit of Wookiee.
Yeah.
And he's speaking the language. Like, that was hilarious.
Because I don't think we had ever seen him communicate in Wookiee, right?
No,
just because
never seen that before.
They both have a equal understanding of the English language. That's just how they communicated through the films. But seeing that Han Solo could actually speak Wookiee, and that's how they kind of like meet on even terms. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but even when they put the subtitles, they put the subtitles with the wrong words. He was messing up the words.
Exactly.
Like, but it was just hilarious. It was just lighthearted and it was fun. Yeah. So Han Solo, Chewbacca were great. I thought they really pulled it off. Yeah. Lando, the second he came on that screen, when he started speaking off camera, I was like, oh my goodness, it's Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Like his voice and his mannerism and the way he held himself and his composure. Like, what's the name of the actor?
That is
Danny Glover,
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover nailed it. Like, he just captured the essence of that character, that bravado, that just that air about him. He dresses really slick, exactly. like he's a player. Yeah. And it was just hilarious. Like he just pulled it off, and I really felt he captured the whole essence of the character.
Yeah.
The bad guy, I forget his name, the main guy who's kind of the crime lord. I liked him until you leaned over and said it's the Vision.
Yeah. So it's the same guy.
As soon as you did that, I'm like, it's the Vision. And all I could hear was Jarvis.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Stark, can I get you a cup of tea? Like, that's all. Like, it was just like, they didn't even try to hide his voice. He sounded exactly, I guess, because that's his voice.
Exactly. Right? So for anyone who's just unaware, the main kind of crime boss villain who we see in this film, in the Avengers movies, if you're unfamiliar, there's a superhero named Vision, who, because we had just seen the newest Avengers film 1 month ago release.
Yeah.
Jumping from this Disney film to the next Disney film with the same character, and his voice has become almost iconic.
He's got a beautiful voice.
Exactly.
Beautiful voice. Yeah.
When you're very used to seeing these superhero films and stuff like that, you hear Vision's voice and you're like, oh, it's Vision.
Right.
But now you're listening to this guy who, and even because we had never seen Vision in human form until this film.
Right.
So in Avengers Infinity War, we saw him what he looked like as his actual self because he could make himself look human.
Yeah.
And now seeing him human in this film, and you can now match the face, you can now match the voice. And I just saw Vision the whole time. I don't think I had as much of an issue as it with it as you did, because by the end of it I didn't really think of him as Vision.
Yeah.
But
it was just because you said it, when you leaned over and said, hey, it's the Vision. And then I just kept focusing on it.
Exactly.
I don't know why. It just kept taking me out of it for some reason. But hey, so I got a question here from Daniel. Daniel Gilman asked the question. So Kevin, do you ever miss the days when there were just 3 Star Wars films? Personally, I actually do. I actually miss that Star Wars used to be an event.
Yeah.
Like when I was your age, for us to go see a Star Wars movie, like we couldn't buy tickets in advance. We couldn't reserve our seats.
Yeah.
We had to hop on our bicycles, ride to the other end of town and wait in line for 5-6 hours to ensure that we got a good seat. And it was an event. Like it was kind of this big deal. Like it took all day.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this. Like today, we went, we showed up, boom, boom, got our tickets, got seats, saw the movie, went home.
Yeah.
So I miss the event feel of these movies only coming out every decade or every
once you would get to it, it'd be every 3 years or so.
Yeah, and then once you were in it, you had to wait 3 years for the next one. That didn't mind me. So I think it's just taking me a while to get used to the fact they're coming out every year, but I don't have a problem with it with Marvel movies.
No, that's the difference, because Marvel
keep pumping them out and I'm happy. Like, make more.
Exactly. They've been constantly good, and that's the difference. Like, if they could have pulled it off, like if they could have pulled off Star Wars like it was the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where just every movie has had overall positive feedback, then that wouldn't have been an issue for me. Although the difference in first time going into The Force Awakens versus now seeing something like The Last Jedi, Force Awakens, I almost ran out of the theater as soon as I heard the opening crawl, because I was
so excited.
I was so
you
excited.
Were going nuts.
I was having a panic attack. Like, I was terrified. I almost ran out of the theater for that movie.
Yeah.
Because I was afraid of my expectations being disappointed. For The Force Awakens, expectations were not disappointed.
Right.
They met my expectations. By Rogue One, had no feeling of excitement in that movie. So I'm like, all right, well, no worries, because next year will be Last Jedi, and I'll get that adrenaline feeling that I love from seeing these movies, right? And I didn't feel it there, because it was just, it's another Star Wars movie now. I love that movie right off the bat. I was giggling in the theaters and everything. But trying to see it a second time, I wasn't having it. It was...
Yeah.
It takes so long for me to get to the exciting part in that movie.
Yeah.
So...
It could have been a 20-minute movie.
It could have been a 20-minute movie, for all I care, just to get that little bit of excitement.
Right? Could have been a little short at the end of the Force Awakens DVD.
Yeah,
we could have gotten the same amount of story out of it and characters, but it's useless. We're not talking about Rogue One right now. Let's talk about So thank you, Daniel. That was a great question. Thank you. So again, with a solo Star Wars movie with zero expectations going into it, in fact, even probably negative expectations and negative feelings going into it, both of us really enjoying the film, really getting a lot of it. How do you feel that, where is Star Wars at now for you? Especially with now looking at all the financial numbers and the fact that this movie is tanking in the box office. Where do you feel where's Star Wars going to go to next?
As far as the numbers in the box office, I hope that the people at Lucasfilms can take this into account and kind of start to make changes, maybe space apart their films more. I know the guy who directed The Last Jedi is already signed on for his own trilogy now. So I'm kind of worried that, first off, I didn't like The Last Jedi.
They're never going to give him a trilogy now. They've been silent on that. Yeah, it's not. Anyways, sorry.
Exactly. So after this film, which I really enjoyed this one, but I'm worried that they're still going to continue pumping out one a year. And it wasn't even an entire year since The Last Jedi, keep in mind. It's been like 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah, 5 months since The Last Jedi came out, because they want to have them all in May releases now, which I'm fine with. And I feel like May is more of a blockbuster time for movies anyways. But considering I liked Han Solo this much, I hope that the next Star Wars film, Episode 9, whatever it ends up being titled, can follow that even stronger.
Episode 9, the quest to save our butts.
Yeah, the quest to save our butts. Yeah. Because for me, I'm disappointed that I liked one of these standalone movies more than I liked a saga film. Like one of...
Well, it's because of how they handled the character.
Yeah.
Right? It always comes down to character story. Character and story. Character and story. If you have boring characters and a bad story, like you can have a bad story with interesting characters and people will still like it.
Yeah.
Or you could have a good story with bad characters and people still like it. But if you mess up both of those, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, the only character that I'm still kind of like excited about moving on to episode 9 after this would be Kylo Ren. I feel like he was the only character who actually got service that was needed. Like his character still developed in the last film, and I know that's not what we're primarily going to be talking about.
That's good.
But that's the only real reason, because I feel like all other characters they developed in that saga just kind of fell through in The Last Jedi.
Right.
So that's why Han Solo was actually quite refreshing, just to see a film where I was invested the whole time. Right? And it kind of gives me hope for other solo films that they'll be doing down the line.
You think they're going to do more solo movies?
I feel like because Star Wars has always worked in threes, I feel like they're going to do at least one more solo film for right now. But it just depends if they have the opportunity to push them out until the end of time, and they will make money on it no matter what.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's tanking in the box office right now. It's still going to make more money than it costs to.
They hope.
Well, they hope, but at this point, here's the thing. Star Wars is established enough. The movie hasn't hit China or anything, which is still big markets for these kind of things.
No, it hit China. It tanked.
It hit China as well. I forgot about that. It did.
It's the lowest of anything. It's like not even. It's like 10 million for the weekend in China.
How
like
much did it cost to make this film? Do you know?
It was like 280 million, I think, or no, 255 million. Just a little bit more than The Force Awakens.
And do you know how much it's made so far?
It's expecting to make just barely 100 million for a 4-day long weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the numbers. So what's going to be interesting is the numbers that will be released tomorrow morning, and then and watching the percentage drop happen in the second week, because it's always the second week where you're really going to get a good sense for how much money a movie's going to make. So,
that's disappointing. Because the movie was good.
The movie was good. We thought it was good.
Yeah, we thought it was good. A lot of people don't, but we thought it was good. And also, I would have expected a bit more because of the whole. There was kind of a big spike in the news about Lando's character with all the success that was coming Donald Glover's way for his newest song that was released. Under his rapper name Childish Gambino, released a new song called This Is America, which focused heavy on like what's been going on with gun violence in America recently. And that was his first #1 song. It has like 200 million views on YouTube at this point.
Right.
And that really shot him up.
Shut up his popularity.
Shot up his popularity. He was kind of the main focus for advertising after that. Like they were like, oh, come see Lando.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the Lando show. Come see Chewbacca and Lando.
Exactly.
And,
come see Chewbacca.
And Kathleen Kennedy isn't anywhere to be seen. You can't find Kathleen Kennedy anywhere.
Yeah.
And Ryan Johnson, you can't see him anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so Rob here just reminds us that this Han Solo guy, he's supposedly signed on to do 3 pictures. Now, if the Boba Fett movie that they announced the day before Solo came out, so Disney's in damage control when they say, hey, yes, we know this Han Solo movie is about to come out, but so let's now announce Boba Fett.
Did they announce Boba Fett?
Well, it came out through the Hollywood Reporter. It didn't come out through StarWars.com.
Was this the day before this movie came out?
Yeah.
That's why
you were in Italy.
I was in Italy.
I know. We gotta get caught up.
Oh man.
So now, if there's a Boba Fett movie, maybe Han Solo could have this appearance, right? But here's the thing: when they say they signed on, remember before the first Avengers came out, Agent Coulson said that he had signed on for 99 Marvel movies, and then they killed him.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler about a movie that's 5 years old, but
like 6-7 years old.
Yeah. So one last thing I want us to talk about, and this is like the big spoiler of Solo, a Star Wars movie. So again, if you don't want any spoilers, now get off the big spoiler of this movie. which was ruined for you because you heard about it.
I literally heard about it 2 hours before going to see the
I know,
video.
and I hadn't heard about this, and I'm going to admit, like, I almost jumped out of my seat when I saw this, okay?
Yeah.
So, that big spoiler, when Kira, who you think she's going to get back together with Han Solo, she totally ditches him. She kills the bad guy, takes his ring, becomes the leader of this gang, and then contacts the real leader of the gang, and it's none other than
Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
My
Yeah.
man, Darth Maul. Like,
Darth Maul.
I mean, the prequels get a lot of hate.
Yeah.
But Darth Maul, I loved Darth
Yeah,
Maul.
He was the king of the prequels,
the
man.
king of the prequels. He was amazing story arc in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And to have Darth Maul, now the head of this Crimson Dawn, that's the name of it,
Yeah,
Crimson Dawn, criminal underworld gang.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So what do you think they're going to do with that? Why introduce Darth Maul? Especially since we know the fate of Darth Maul
and
from Star Wars Rebels.
Spoiler for Star Wars Rebels, I guess. I
Yeah.
guess we need to explain it technically.
Technically, yeah.
So spoilers, if you care. Star Wars Rebels is a TV show that's on the Disney Channel. So if you don't really care for spoilers for it, it is canon information about Star Wars,
Yeah.
though, and important stuff happens.
Oh,
in
he's
that
so
show.
cool. Just look at that.
I know.
He's so cool.
Yeah. So essentially,
Cool? Lame.
cool.
Lame. Okay. Emo child.
Exactly. Little
Sorry.
emo child there.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no worries. So, spoilers for Star Wars Rebels if you care about that at all.
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
The fate of Darth Maul.
Yeah. Darth Maul dies
He
in
dies!
Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
To Obi-Wan Kenobi's hand. They fight each other in Star Wars Rebels. I haven't seen that.
We gotta go watch
I
it
gotta
when
get
we're done
that.
because
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
I'll go watch
amazing.
it after. Because Darth Maul dies. Like, he's canon, he's dead.
Yeah. Before the rebellion.
Before the rebellion.
Yeah, so
So-
before the events of
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 4, he dies. So to introduce Darth Maul at this moment of this timeline,
Yeah.
where we're only maybe, it's hard to know the timeline of this one, so you might be 10 years out from A New Hope.
I don't think you can be 10 years out. Do you have internet on, or hold on?
Well, we can
I have
look
internet.
it up after.
Yeah, because I just want to know how old Han Solo is supposed to be portrayed.
I don't think they ever say. It's never discussed.
Because the guy is around, he's the same age as Harrison Ford when he had started.
He's not much
playing.
younger than that. Yeah.
And keep in mind, that during the film, you see a 3-year age gap.
That's right.
Too.
Yes.
So you really don't know how old he is. I wouldn't say.
And it
wouldn't
finishes
say
with
10
him
years.
heading off to go meet up with Jabba the Hutt to get a job from
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt.
And,
And again,
as you can see, by A New Hope, they're talking about how he had failed that
yeah,
job.
and now he's in trouble with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Now maybe he did multiple jobs for Jabba. Maybe he worked for Jabba for 10 years. We don't know
Yeah.
now in this new timeline, right?
It kind of seems
So-
pushing in the direction that it would just be kind of like the
Yeah.
first thing, because why would Jabba keep
Right.
accepting him screw up after screw up after screw up?
Right. Rob is saying it's 10 years is about right,
Do you
too.
think 10 years is about right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if there's a 10-year gap, that makes sense for the Rebels timeline.
So what do you do with Darth Maul for those 10 years? Why introduce him now? Why introduce Darth Maul as the head of a criminal underworld?
It's annoying that they had to kill him in a TV show. And I've been talking about this for years, ever since we started hearing about Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
I wanted to see an Obi-Wan movie where there's Darth Maul wants revenge on Obi-Wan for keeping him from being like a Sith Lord, and it's just a hunt down movie where Obi-Wan is trying to go everywhere to finally put an end to Darth Maul. Like, he hears Darth
Right.
Maul is resurfaced,
Yeah.
and he needs to kill him because maybe he's coming after Luke or someone.
We're
like
trying to restart the
Because
Sith. Or
restart
trying
the
to do
Sith.
something. You know?
doing like if even if they were like trying to go after Luke or something,
Yeah.
newborn Luke, because he had a vision that he was the chosen one
Right.
already.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, for the Sith to continue and for Darth Vader's plan, we need to kill off
Right.
this Luke now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many cool
It
things.
would have
they
been
could've done.
so cool, and it would have been cooler than this new song.
Well, imagine an Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone movie with Ewan McGregor
Ewan
back.
McGregor.
Oh, okay, it's cool you're playing Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
But we want you as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Okay, hashtag bring back Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor. Okay.
I want to see you fighting Darth Maul. I don't want to see you playing around with Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly.
And Tigger.
Oh, Christopher Robin. Okay. Anyway, you know your mom's gonna bring us to that
Oh,
one.
yeah,
So we'll
fine.
review that one
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But anyway, so now you got all this interesting backstory. You got this
I know.
Crimson Dawn organization, criminal organization, head up by this fallen Sith Lord with the mechanical legs, with a short period of time to do something really cool with it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it, and I hope they do something more than just do it in a comic book or in a novel,
Yeah.
because I don't read the novels. I don't, I'm a movie guy. I like the bulk of the stuff to be happening in the movies.
Yeah.
But of course, you can't cover every storyline in the movies. So whether it's a new TV show or a spinoff or something, but I really hope they do something cool with it. Because just to throw that in there, I mean, it was cool. Like, I love the fact that Disney is honoring the prequels more. The prequels have got a lot of bad press.
Yeah.
But of course, now they're, I think all of us angry, white, overweight guys who live in their mother's basement. Thank you. Who called us that? Was that Kathleen Kennedy or Ryan Johnson? I can't remember, but I didn't like your movie. I'm not overweight. Well, maybe a little bit, but I don't live in my mother's basement, okay? And I'm not racist. I'm not sexist.
I live in my mother's basement.
You live in your mother's basement, but you're 17. You're supposed to. So anyways, I just digress. So yeah, so I hope they do something cool with this Darth Maul revelation. For me, that was just like, wow, that's way cooler for me than a Boba Fett movie. Boba Fett's cool and all, but if they go back and do prequel, who cares?
Yeah.
Do Boba Fett coming out of the Sarlacc pit and do something into the future.
That'd be cool.
That'd be much cooler.
That'd be cool.
So anyways, so this wraps into some of the mythos with Maul, Rob is saying. So I'm curious. Yeah, so we'll have to see what that mythos is. I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
But
Do you think they'll do anything film-wise with this character now?
Han Solo?
No,
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul. And Han Solo, I guess, if you want to answer that.
Han Solo, again, I thought this movie was worthy of a sequel.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think, again, I'm a Han Solo guy. I'm not talking, I was not a Luke Skywalker guy growing up. Han Solo was my guy. Like, he was my surrogate father. Like, if I could have just jumped into the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo and Chewbacca and run away from home, that's what I would have done. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. But, he was my guy. Like, it was Han Solo. And the way they did away with Han Solo was an insult to the character, was an insult to the story, was an insult to everything that's gone on before, and did not help the story anyways. Sorry, I'm going to start crying again. So I was hopeful, hey, they're bringing some life back into this very iconic character. And like a James Bond movie, you could have run with this character a little bit more.
Yeah.
Had him go on some new adventures. They try to do too much origin in this one. So now let's go off and do some new stuff.
That'd be cool if what they're saying about the 10-year gap is actually there. You can do
two or three other movies.
2 movies, yeah.
But because this movie is going to finish with such a bad financial state, I don't think Disney's going to touch it.
I don't think so.
There's no way they'll greenlight any kind of Solo sequel.
Yeah.
With the fan backlash that has happened over this and just the sheer minimal amount of money that it's made.
Yeah.
If it doesn't triple its earnings, they're not going to touch it, which is sad because I think this really was set up beautifully to tell a couple of really good, interesting Han Solo movies.
Yeah.
And this coming from a guy who absolutely despised what Disney did with that character. And so I was quite hopeful that they were going to do something else with it, but I think, unfortunately, that dream is dead.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So do you have any closing thoughts about this movie before we wrap up?
I thought this movie was very well-rounded. Start to finish, I was enjoying myself. What I've heard a lot of reviewers saying is even if you don't enjoy it as a Star Wars film, it's still, in my opinion at least, it's a blockbuster movie, right? It's a summer blockbuster movie. You're gonna get enjoyment out of this film, in my opinion, unless you're diving too deeply into kind of but even you dove deep.
I'm a dive deep guy.
To hate it. Yeah, expecting to hate it, and I found plenty of enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
Now sometimes this opinion changes by second, third viewing. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not sure what the replay value of this film, what that's going to look like.
Well, we're going to go again.
Yeah, we're going to go again.
Because your mom wants to go.
Exactly.
So we got to go again with Mom.
So we're going to go again. If anything changes, maybe I'll write something on Facebook, something like that. But as of a few hours after the first viewing, I rank it probably within my out of how many Star Wars films are there now? Was this the 11th, 10th?
We had episode 7.
Because we had
episode
8. We had 8, and now
This is the 10th.
This is the 10th Star Wars film.
Yeah.
To have released. It's definitely in the top 5, in my opinion.
Definitely in the top 5.
In the top 5, so it's in the top half of
Okay.
the Star Wars movies that have
Wow.
released. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, just closing thoughts. Again, enjoyed it. Thought the characters were a lot of fun. Enjoyed the storyline. It kept me interested from beginning to end. One thing I didn't like.
Mhm.
I really didn't like Lando's robot.
Yeah.
And I know everyone is just ranting and raving how awesome that character was. I despised that robot. I did. It was so annoying.
Yeah.
And so uncalled for. It was like, no, it's even better than K2SO. No, K2SO was funny.
K2SO was
was
great.
interesting. K2SO was the only good thing about Rogue One. This L338 or L337, I don't even, who cares what the name was. And there was like this big, sad, traumatic scene where Lando's caressing the robot and crying. It's a droid. We can repair those. Okay? Like, R2-D2 was blown to smithereens and they repaired R2-D2. C-3PO was blown to bits and they repaired C-3PO. And they didn't lose their character or their personality. It's like, we can rebuild those. It's a piece of machine. And this thing like, we're sentient, we gotta rebel. It's like, oh, shut up. No, you're not. You're a toaster with personality. So I really didn't like that. It just didn't fit with Star Wars for me. Like, you know, that would have been a good Star Trek storyline or another science fiction story. You know, put that in iRobot and Isaac Asimov stuff. But it wasn't Star Wars. That character was just dumb. And it actually was starting to take me out of the character. Big Sport was so happy when they blew that droid up. It was like, yes, blow it up. And then put the good part of it into the Millennium Falcon was good. So that was the only thing I disliked about the movie. How about you? Was there anything you disliked? Again, just to finish up.
Just one thing first. If you're gonna bring the idea, that's the only thing that I'm kind of disagreeing with you with on that robot.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take into account K2SO,
Yeah.
K2SO was shot to death, and they couldn't do anything to.
But they couldn't fix him because everybody was shot to death.
Everybody in the end, but he died.
And then the planet blows up.
Yeah.
So no one could have repaired K2SO because the people who knew he was there, they all died with him.
Yeah.
So
that's true. So yeah, I thought this was a great movie. Again, in my top half favorite Star Wars films.
Yeah. Aunt Nicole says the second viewing is always better with your aunt and uncle. Okay, we'll go see. You come see the movie with us
for sure. Second time, if not third, by then. But yeah, it's not my movie of the year for sure. Yeah. Because after Avengers: Infinity War, everything else is like.
Yeah. We'll review that one maybe in the next video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Sure. So Han Solo, Star Wars story. Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
So you're getting a thumbs up. Star Wars. Solo Star Wars stories from a teenager and from his old dad.
Let's go.
So hopefully this video was a lot of fun. We're going to take this. We're going to be creating a YouTube channel we talked about. We're going to take this video off of Facebook. We're going to load it up over there. And who knows? We'll keep experimenting with this kind of stuff. And, so Rob is saying, I think the Maul Kira story arc rolls into Fett with Han appearing as well. Maybe the Fett's hunting Han. That could be cool too. Like it could take place. Man, would you want to actually take this guy and do stuff in between episode 4 and 5? Like the part when Han Solo, had to go, well, that bounty hunter that we ran into on Ord Mantell changed my mind.
Yeah.
It's quotes from The Empire Strikes Back. You try to do a movie based on that. Yeah, that's a great theory, Rob. That'd be really cool to see stuff like that pop into it. So.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not like another Han Solo film, but maybe there'll be like a Boba Fett film that ties in everything, and then maybe like a Chewie film, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit more encouraged about where the state of Star Wars is after this movie.
Sure.
Definitely going to go see this one again.
Yeah.
And so thanks for joining us, everybody. It was great. And thank you for those of you that posted questions and likes. We really appreciate it. And we'll figure out a schedule on how we want to do these in the future. And hopefully we'll see you soon. And enjoy yourself at the movies.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. God bless.
Have a good one.
So you click the end live video button.